Welcome again. The topic for this tutorial is normalized population map. What is data normalization? Why do we normalize our data in the first place? So the simple definition is normalization is the process of dividing one numeric attribute value by another. Why? To minimize the difference in values based on the size of the areas or the number of features in each area. A common mistake by beginner mappers or map makers is to disregard normalization when they are working with especially population dependent data. So you can make a count of the number of facilities in two regions. In this example, let us say region A and B. You would probably say that SNNP region has more facilities than Gambela region. But this wouldn't tell the whole story. Numbers alone wouldn't be enough, especially if you want to compare things like healthcare services across the two regions, or in fact the whole regions for that matter. This is where normalization comes in. So you'd want to normalize your observations against the total number of people served, or it could be against the total coverage of the area. In this case, a more appropriate indicator would be the total number of health facilities per 10,000 population, or the total number of health facilities per total population living in those regions. That is a more appropriate indicator. You'd need to divide the number of health facilities by the total population served in each area. So then you can make a comparison. That is the basic idea of normalization. Let us see how we can do it in practice in ArcGIS Pro program. Open tutorial 2-6 project. This map shows the number of health facilities across the regions. That shows from about 10 in some areas to about 220 facilities in other areas. So it only shows the number. It doesn't tell anything about access. It doesn't tell anything about rate. So the more saturated the color, the more the number. That is what it means. So it's of little use for comparison. You can see that Oromia region first, and then Amhara and SNNPR regions have greater number of health facilities, as shown in the map. However, given their large area coverage, the number of hospitals per region might still be low. It is not possible to compare across regions using this map. So we need to take into account not only the number of health facilities, but the population or even the coverage as well. That is normalization. Let us see that with an example. If we divide the number of health facilities by shape area coverage or by population, that would make sense. So we divide the number of health facilities by either one of these features in this list. For now, we can divide it, or in other words, normalize it by the total area of each region. To do that, we simply use normalization option. So normalization here, pick shape area or the area of the region. Now let's do it. The distribution is almost similar in most regions, especially in the central parts. Eastern and western regions still have the lowest, but city regions and Sidama region is doing better. But we can also normalize it with population. That means if we pick population this time, if we divide it by population, to do that we simply use the normalization option. Now we pick population this time. You see, the distribution is almost similar, like central parts, city regions, and this time Gambela is doing better. Somalia is still the lowest. If we want to put it in terms of percentage, as you can see here, it is a fraction here. We can change it to percentage. So to do that, go to advanced symbol options, click the first format labels options here. From category, choose percentage. No, that is display number as percentage. So round it off to 0 decimal places if you want. Now you can see the change here automatically. Finally, we may want to compare the normalized map with the unnormalized map. So to compare the two types of maps, I have here the same initial layer, the layer that we started with, that is the unnormalized map here. So to do that, they need to have the same symbology, both for this one and this one. This one has a graduated green color scheme, and this one has a graduated blue color scheme. So we want to import the symbology of health facilities 1 to the symbology of health facilities 2, so that we can make a comparison. Click this options button here, right here. So pick import symbology. Now when you do that, a geoprocessing pane opens, this one. So in the geoprocessing pane, so in the input layer, we have to first, in the contents pane, we have to click the feature for which we want to import the symbology, which is this one, health facilities. So the symbology of this layer, or the symbology layer, which is health facilities 1, is applied to this layer, the input layer of health facilities 2. So meaning to show the symbology of this layer is called target layer, which is graduated blue, as you can see here. The symbology of this layer is the input layer, which is graduated green, and see. When making sure we are done with it, so click run. When it is finished, you can see that the symbology is imported. So now it is easy to compare the normalized with the unnormalized. So that for comparison, we will use the swipe tool. The swipe tool is to easily compare and appreciate the difference. We can use the swipe tool. It is on the appearance tab. Under effects group, we click here swipe. You see, we can drag this cursor horizontally or vertically to reveal the layer underneath. You can drag the cursors like this. As you can see, there are more number of health facilities in Oromia region than in Addis in terms of number. But when we normalize it, the layer underneath, the health coverage, when we divide it by the population number, Addis still has more number of health coverage than the regions, than all the regions. So we can compare like this. When we are done, on the map tab, click explore button, so to deactivate the swipe tool. So save your project finally, And thank you for watching.